My money, make it count. This podcast will talk about financial literacy for the college student. So, how do you spend your money? Do you have to have the newest gadget? Are you a shopaholic when it comes to the newest fashions? Do you like to go on trips or purchase things just for yourself? How do you spend your money? We're constantly, bombarded by advertisements. If we watch TV, if we're on the internet, if we go to the movies, anywhere we go, we are bombarded by advertisements, enticing us to purchase new items that we may not need. So how do you differentiate between what you need and what you want? Do you really need the new iPhone, the iPhone 5? Or will a Motorola phone suffice? How do you pay for what you buy? Do you put it on a credit card? Do you pay cash? Do you use your debit card? How do you pay for it? If you have a credit card, are you using it wisely? The first part of this podcast will talk to you about credit cards and credit card safety. And then the second part will go into more information on student loans. So how do we save for the future? Well, the first thing that we need to do is learn to live within our means. This will help get you ahead. So how do we do this? We need to differentiate between what we want and what we need. So, for example, my husband and I switched from Verizon not too long ago to Straight Talk, and we had the opportunity to purchase the new iPhone. Well, did we really need that iPhone? Or would the Motorola LG or the LG phone do fine? Well, we decided on the LG phone because we didn't really need the iPhone. We may have wanted it, but it wasn't a substantial need. Now, on the other hand, do we need a house? Of course, we need shelter. Do we need food? Yes, we need to nourish our bodies. How do you justify what you need and what you want? Well, one thing that you can do is to create a budget. Budgeting creates financial security, and budgeting will keep you out of debt. So how do you use a monthly budget though? This sounds very easy, but actually getting it out on paper is a completely different story. Budgeting can actually be very hard because it is very hard to decide what you have to have and what you don't have to have. So whenever you're creating your budget, you keep track of what you make, what you're bringing in, you keep track of what's going out or what you spend, and you have to ask yourself, how close are they? So to make your budget work, you must equalize what you spend with what you make. So therefore you need to make more and spend less. Sounds easy, right? Not so much. So you start by making adjustments. You earn more by working more hours. My husband and I are both employees at James Burnt Community College. I'm an instructor coordinator, and my husband is the budget director. Well, at night on Monday and Wednesday nights, he teaches a math class on the side. This brings in extra money for us. We also have to reduce our expenses. I get on him all the time because he goes up to the Friendly Mart and gets a Mountain Dew out of the drink machine. Wouldn't it have been a lot cheaper to just buy a 2-liter Mountain Dew, put it in the refrigerator, and fix you a Mountain Dew before you went to work? So we have to reduce our expenses. You have to be honest with yourself. Do you really need this, or do you really want this? So now going on to debt and credit cards and all that fun stuff, let me ask you a question. How much money or how much credit card debt do you think an undergraduate owes? $500, $1,500, $3,000, or $5,000? Well, the answer is the average student owes about $3,000 in credit card debt. This is a lot of debt for someone entering the workforce at their lowest level. And think about it. These are college students who are just graduating. Their parents are, waving goodbye to them and saying, au revoir, you're on your own. You can pay your own mortgage now. You can pay your own rent. You can pay your own utilities. So for them to have this much money in debt is very scary. One thing to keep you out of debt is to watch how much you spend per month on a purchase. So let's take this example. Let's say you buy that new iPhone for $500. You pay for it on a credit card, and your credit card has 18% interest. Now, you get your monthly statement, and it says minimum payment $10 per month. So you're like, wow, that's not bad. I can just buy whatever I want to on this credit card. Well, let's think about this. You're going to have $10 per month for 93 months. You're going to end up paying $430 in interest. That means that $500 iPhone that you purchased, or you thought you purchased for $500, is really going to end up costing you $930. That's ridiculous. That's almost double the price. However, instead of paying $10 per month, if you just paid $50 per month, you would have 10 monthly payments. You would only end up spending $45 or so in interest, and the total cost of that iPhone, instead of being $500 or worse, $930, it'll end up costing you $545. Not so bad. So that means that minimum payments matter. It's best if you don't pay just the minimum payment. You pay more than the minimum payment. But be sure to look at your credit card very carefully to make sure that you are not penalized for paying more than the minimum payment. So true or false, you must be 21 to get a credit card in your name. That's true. In order to get a credit card in your name before the age of 21, you must have a cosigner. And once you're over 21, you can get a credit card in your own name. Now, for note on cosigners, if you miss a payment, or if you don't make your payments at all, then the cosigners are fully responsible for any debts that you incur. So asking someone to co-sign with you is a huge responsibility. It's a huge favor to ask someone, because their credit can be adversely affected. True or false? All credit card companies charge the same annual percentage rate, or APR, of interest on the balance you owe. This is very false. Different banks and different companies charge different rates. Also, other important terms vary, such as annual fees, late fees, grace periods, etc. One thing that you want to do is shop around. If you are going to be enrolling with a credit card company, you want to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. All right, so if you have an annual fee, then what are the incentives that come along with that annual fee? If there's no annual fee, what is that APR rate? What's the rate going to look like? Is it going to be higher? True or false? If you pay your credit card balance on time and in full each month, it doesn't matter what rate the bank charges on your credit card. This, my friends, is true. Because you pay interest on the unpaid amount each month, you never pay any interest charge if you pay the entire amount due each month. Banks absolutely hate this. I'm going to give you an example. I was telling you earlier that my husband and I switched from Verizon to Straight Talk. And when I bought our two LG phones, each phone was $200 a piece. So therefore, I spent $400. I put it on my credit card because I can earn points and I can go ahead and pay it off within the month. I never put anything on my credit card that I'm not absolutely sure I can pay off. Well, I paid off my credit card this month. Now, American Express made absolutely no money from that purchase because I never gave them the opportunity to charge me interest. So they absolutely made no money on my purchase whatsoever. True or false? You pay no interest on a debit card purchase. Sorry about that. True or false? You pay no interest on a debit card purchase. That is true. A debit card works just like a check. Money is instantly deducted from your checking account, and there's no interest rate or anything associated with that. This is just like writing a check. True or false? Everyone over the age of 18 has a credit report. Well, this is false. Credit reports only exist for people who have established credit history. So you may be, if you don't have any credit history, this can be quite a burden. You may be required to pay deposits for utilities. You may be denied a lease. You may be charged a higher interest rate or given a low credit limit until a payment history is established. Having no credit history can make it more challenging to obtain credit. And we'll talk about some ways to work around this in a few minutes. True or false? If you're late or miss a few credit card payments, the interest rate you pay may increase sharply and your credit report will be adversely affected. This is true. There's a new law saying that your interest rate may rise dramatically if your payment is more than 60 days late. A missed or late payment will very likely remain on your credit report for up to 7 years. That is a long time. 7 years from now, you could be in a completely different place in your life. You might be 18 right now, and in 7 years, you might be married and have a child on the way, and you're ready to settle down and have a house. Well, you can't get that mortgage because you missed a couple of credit card payments. This could really affect your future. True or false? Bouncing just one check won't cause you to have credit problems. This is false. If you bounce a check, your bank may put your name in check systems. You could be blacklisted for up to 5 years, which will make it very difficult for you to get a bank account somewhere else. In some instances, it is also a criminal offense to write a bad check. Having a criminal record is even worse than having a bad credit report. True or false? If you apply for an auto loan, the lender will probably review your credit report. This is true. Lenders almost always will review your credit report. Visit annualcreditreport.com for a free copy of your credit report. But beware of imposter sites. Companies, we see this on TV, we hear the little jingles of freecreditreport.com or, whatever. They have the free score in their names. Most of the time, there's nothing free about them. The FTC calls these imposter sites. You want to avoid any monthly monitoring or protection. They're expensive and unneeded. There's only one free source, and it's annualcreditreport.com. You should review your credit report regularly, and you can do so for free once a year by going to annualcreditreport.com. 80% of credit reports contain errors, and you should contact the credit reporting agency when you discover mistakes. So, a FICO credit score. This is a score determined by your past use of credit as reported by 3 credit reporting agencies. It's a 3-digit number between 300 and 850. You have 3 FICO scores, one from each reporting agency. So what are lenders looking for? They are looking for a higher number. The higher the number, the better credit you have. So what do FICO scores look like? And how do they affect different things? All right, so the cost difference between the highest and lowest credit scores for a $200,000 loan. If you have a credit score between 500 and 559, your percentage rate is going to be like 9.29%. However, if your credit score is like in the 720, 850 range, look at how much the difference in the percentage rate is. It's 5.79. So that's a big difference. So the higher your FICO score, the more favorable credit terms you can negotiate. The slide shows a calculation of the cost between the highest and lowest credit scores for a $200,000 loan. You can see that the difference over time is dramatic, almost doubling the cost of the house just with interest differential. That's huge. While you may not be looking at a 30-year mortgage right now, your spending habits now will affect your credit ratings and will affect the mortgage rate you will get in 5 to 10 years when you do buy a house. Factors that negatively affect your credit: late payments, failure to make payments, having too much credit, having like 12 credit cards, 7 loans, etc., having no credit, not leaving a forwarding address, and judgments against your bankruptcy. So some tips for establishing good credit: take out a small loan and repay it in a good, timely manner. Get a single credit card with a low credit limit and pay it off each month, and get a prepaid or secured credit card. In the next section, we're going to talk a little bit more about establishing good credit and then student loans. So be sure to watch the next video.